Hi, my name is Abby and I'm a yoga teacher. This is like an intro video, I think. I've never really done an intro video. Oh, I'm trying to get the camera straight. This is weird. Okay, so I'm from the United States. Specifically, I'm from San Diego and I spent 10 years living in Seattle and a little bit in Portland. Yeah, and in 2015, I got hit by a car when I was riding my bike. And I was totally fine, and it wasn't my fault. It was like, they think the person who hit me was drunk. It was a hit and run. It was a really unfortunate situation, but I'm fortunate because I'm so lucky. Like, I woke up and had very few injuries, had like a concussion and a fractured elbow, and then I was like, all right, cool. I want to be on a beach. I think I want to be on a beach. So I was already why is it moving? I was already a preschool teacher. So it was a pretty easy jump for me to move to Thailand to teach English for a semester. Obviously, it's been longer. It's been several years since then, and I'm still in Southeast Asia. I live in Malaysia today. Like, it's funny, like the biggest thing I think about all the time as someone who lives abroad is colonization, colonial stuff. I just think about it all the time. And even right back to yoga. So that's why I did my yoga training in India, to learn more about where yoga came from, yoga's roots. I'm really pro like authentic yoga. I don't really teach any of the Western twists like goat yoga. I don't teach that. Yeah. So I started doing yoga 20 years ago. Because my physical therapist recommended it for me, and it was really awesome. I really liked it, so I kept up with it. When I was living in Seattle, I went to yoga at high-end yoga studios, and I had a really, really bad experience with that. First of all, they're really expensive, and second of all, most yoga teachers in the States don't really have very much background in teaching yoga. You only have to take 200 hours, which you can do in 3 weeks. And 3 weeks isn't really enough time to be able to give good instructions for anybody. And then I have visual impairment because I have albinism, so I was really always like, what? A little bit lost. Sometimes I would try telling the teachers that I had visual impairment and they would freak out and tell me just not to do anything. People have this idea that if you can't see very well, like you can't do anything, which is obviously not true. A lot of it is down to the teacher giving good instructions. Yeah, and then so I would just try my best to take yoga classes, and a lot of times, and I've had students tell me this now, a lot of times yoga teachers don't really tell you exactly how to get into the pose properly. So if someone gives really good instructions, you're able to kind of feel and experience the pose more, as well as preventing injuries. So that's really important, to give good directions when you're teaching a yoga class. Of course, everybody has a different body and will have a different experience, but just helping people set up a proper foundation for the pose is really important. Also, like, I think when we look at Instagram and we see people doing yoga on Instagram, we want to copy their shapes. And the thing is, everybody has like different muscles, right? Everyone has different bones. And you only have the limit that you have based on the body you were given. So even if you work out every day and get super strong and super flexible, you're still going to have these limits set by your skeleton. And they're not bad or good, but it might mean that the shapes that you make won't look exactly like the picture. And sometimes you try to overcompensate to look like the picture, and that is where injuries can happen, especially doing the same posture over time. So it's really important to just listen to your body. I know everyone says that, but just really listen to your body. My sister has autism, and for her, that is a little bit more difficult when it comes to yoga classes. So I was talking to her about this, like, what would you think about making yoga more accessible for autism? And she says that, like, it's hard for her to know when something is too painful. So if you are a similar situation to my sister, I would say go where you know for sure it's safe, and then just kind of stop. Really, really be careful with limits of your body. Also, during a yoga class, you are always welcome to do a different posture than what the teacher says. Even if it's not my yoga class, like any yoga class you're taking, if you don't want to do the pose that they are offering, do something else. Try to do something kind of similar. So if like they're standing and you feel able to stand, try to do something standing. If they're sitting and you feel able to sit, do something sitting. But if you don't feel able to sit or stand, just do what you feel comfortable doing. And that's the beauty of yoga. It's the exploration of mind, body, soul connection, and just trying to find that peace and harmony inside, which is why I've been doing yoga for so long, because it really helps me with the pain from my migraines, as well as just processing my feelings. If you have albinism, I'm sure you can relate to how sometimes it's very confusing when you have albinism, like people, like the discrimination, like gaslighting. It can be weird sometimes, and yoga has been something that's always been able to help me just process that personally. Yoga also helps a lot with my pain management, because if you also have migraines from hunching over and stuff all day, it's a nice little tool. I try to teach classes that are kind of based with kinesthetic motion and movement. So you will need blocks. Don't fall over. Ooh. So you'll need blocks, a yoga strap, or you can even use like a t-shirt or like a towel. You can get creative with what you use. You'll also need a wall, or just anything that you can lean on safely, which could be like the back of a couch or a door. Whatever you're using, just make sure it's sturdy enough and safe enough. I also recommend a yoga mat, but you can get by without a yoga mat for quite a while. And for some things, we'll use socks and slippery floors. So just using what you have, we'll figure it out. Also, chairs are useful as well. There's a lot of yoga you can do sitting in a chair. And there's also a lot of yoga you can do just like laying down using a chair. You can get creative using the chair as a prop. The yoga I'm going to mostly focus on in these little videos I'm making is kind of aimed at people in similar situations to myself, which is having albinism or migraines or balance problems, and people who have the ability to sit and stand independently. If you do not have the ability to sit and stand, fret not. I'll make some stuff for like people who want to just do yoga laying down, like on a flat surface, or people who want to do yoga sitting in a chair in the future. But there's really so little things specifically aimed at people who have albinism that I thought it would be fun to do something kind of like for my community. But I've had a lot of people who don't have albinism take my classes who say that like my instructions are really, really good and helpful for them. So stick around even if you don't have albinism, and I hope you enjoy. And also, you can always take my classes on Zoom. I have a link for sign up if you want like a one-on-one class, which I always recommend a one-on-one class, but I also, like for me, I'm kind of scared to take a private class, so I could totally understand why a video just might be more accessible for some people. All right, bye.